Jeff, thank you so much. This young man who started in politics just about 70 years ago, has come a tremendous way. He's what we talk about when we talk about great young men and women getting involved in politics, conservative politics. God bless you. You've run a great race. Thank you. So first of all, funny how long ago when we first walked in to Joy Radecki's wonderful shop and asked her, we're thinking about money. Can you help us? And from that moment to tonight, it has been a journey. But I want to thank Joy and all the women, Heidi, because you have truly been the wind beneath our wings. And we love you. But there's one thing, I see a little blue in the audience tonight. And I assume you're at the wrong party, but I think that you're still celebrating that Dodger World Championship. You know, winning the World Championship for this 2014 was amazing. So proud of the boys, fighting at all times, playing when they're injured and didn't feel well. And then winning in Game 5 at Yankee Stadium. If you can't win at home, winning at Yankee Stadium is the next best thing. And of course, the 81 World Championship, and you remember the great...
California will continue to be at the forefront of progress, the bulwark of democracy, the champion of innovation. From the first day I launched this campaign to the visits I've made to nearly every corner of the Golden State, from meeting with local leaders in the border community of Calexico to seeing the restoration of redwoods north of Willits, I've met the most amazing people all across California. I've listened to your concerns, I've heard your fears.
I would like to congratulate Adam Schiff. Haven't I taught you the Garvey way? Haven't I taught you that we can leave it on the field sometimes? But what we learn from this battle, you and I, is that we may have lost the battle, but we will win the war. And that's against the tyranny, administration, and an opponent that has suppressed you, the people, and your voice.
Put him in jail.
I'll get to that in 1 second. You know, every man that runs for office, or every man that thinks that, his success is really because of the love of a woman. And in my case, it truly is. Because 35 years ago, I met this wonderful woman, Steve Garvey. God put her in my life. And since that time, she and I have merged our families and created a family that believes in God. But honey, thank you. You've been there every step of the way. Because even though I am, and you have to stay with me now, because what I believe in is always being fair and just and kind and merciful. stop now. We are not stopping now. Because what we did in the beginning, it took us about 4 months to find out whether there was a narrow pathway to running for the U.S. Senate. And you know that our campaign philosophy and we built a great team. A team that very early on in the campaign, as you may remember, were in a solid second place against the cabal of Barbara Lee and Katie Porter and Adam Schiff. And we started getting recognition as far east as the Capitol in Washington for running a race that was unique, running a race that was genuine, running a race like nobody had here in 30 years because of having been blessed to play the great game of baseball and to have played in front of hundreds of millions of people and to know that with that commitment, it takes a team. And my team, with my dear Olivia and Ryan and Sean, inspired me every day because the faith of family is the single thread that weaves us all together. So let's just talk a minute about what we tried to accomplish. And I think that before I do that, let's just thank our law enforcement, our veterans and military, our firefighters, and our paramedics. Let's do that. You know, when we first started out putting our team together, we had a list of about 10 different things that we thought affected your lives on a daily basis. And it ended up that the cost of living, fixing the homeless crisis, addressing the existential crisis at the border, improving our public schools were the things that really meant the most to us. And Candace and I have said that running for you has been the greatest honor. But maybe we were running for the future of California. And we mean that by our children and our grandchildren. That is our true future. We will get this country back on track. Amen. I firmly believe that we will have a new president tonight, Donald J. Trump. He'll be supported by a strong Senate. Would have loved to have been that 53rd Senate. Our Congress our good men and women in California will find a way to make sure we have a majority in that Congress. And another thing I've taken a lot of pride in, and that is to be able to have helped the down ticket to reach 7 or 8 different offices that they might not have been able to reach if my voice hadn't been out every day talking about faith and family and freedom and that common sense. Well, when I talk about me, I talk about we. Because it was never about political opportunity or party politics. Because that's been so divisive in these United States, in our republic, that more than ever we need unity. And you've heard me say, going back to Washington as your next elected senator, I would go to all 99 offices, stick out my hand, and say, I want to work with you for the best interest of your state and my state in this country. And I hope Adam Schiff will have heard this. No, please. And that he will somehow, some way realize that maybe at this point in his life, that maybe Steve Garvey gave him the idea that he can make a difference. Now that's why we live this life, is to give others inspiration. We didn't follow the path of pandering or rhetoric-filled lists of unachievable policies and unworkable positions. We took a stand
on what impacted Californians. And I will still fight with this new platform that we've created, that we will move forward with, that will significantly reduce crime in our streets, that will affect our economy and inflation, that will make sure that our border is secure and that we vet those coming into this country. And the homelessness. You know, you have told me you want to know what's happening in America and around the world. So we went to the border, and we went from the corner in Tijuana and San Diego to Jacumba and saw the illegal immigrants coming across and challenging our U.S. border. And then we went to the inner cities of San Diego and Los Angeles and Sacramento. And when you get down on a knee and you look at these homeless people, they don't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They just look you in the eye and you can see their souls, and at the lowest part in their lives, they need somebody to help them, to care about them. And over $25 billion was spent on the homeless from 2020 to now. And we increased homelessness 15% last year, and that's unconscionable. And I will continue to fight to find out where that money went to, so that our homeless will have a place where they can go to and they can be helped, and their addictions and their alcoholism can be addressed. And in a short amount of time, like the Dream Center in Los Angeles and Father Joe's in San Diego, that these people can get a job. And as Candace had always said so eloquently, that, and what did you say, honey? Yeah, and that they would have dignity in their hearts. And that's what we can do as people to help these homeless. So going forward, I think that we've looked at a government that's turned a blind eye to the catastrophes that are happening. But when we announced on October 10th, as you know, 3 days before that, the Israeli war broke out. And people were confused as to why and how that could happen. And as we listened to the demonstrations at college campuses around the country, and we heard that the Israelis were vilified by what people said was a genocide against Hamas, and you and I know differently. And in that first debate, when I was asked how I stand with Israel, I said, I stand with Israel yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I will stand by them. For all their needs. But I could never tell them they couldn't protect their sovereignty. And our campaign, and Ryan and I, went to Israel for a week. And we listened to the IDF generals and the advisors. We went to an Iron Dome facility. But the first thing we did, we went to the kibbutz that at 6:30 on October 7th was overrun by Hamas. These 900 people, many of them were killed. And the brutality of it, that was the true genocide Hamas inflicted on Israel. We went to the Nova Music Festival 10 miles away, where 3,500 young men and women from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., just like Coachella, enjoyed music, the festival of dancing. And as they were leaving at 6:30, as they were leaving this festival driving out, they ran into 13 Hamas vehicles that killed 350 of these young men and women. And we visited throughout the country. We ended up in Jerusalem. And on the last day, Ryan and I went to the Western Wall. And we put on our yarmulkes. And we went up and we put our hands on that wall and prayed for those that we know and love that are sick. We prayed for our country. We prayed for Israel. And we prayed for the hearts and souls of people in America to remember that this small country, that you can put 6 Israels into California, of 9 million people, was carrying the torch for democracy in this country. we shall never forget and always support them. But we also went from Chula Vista to Redding to Lodi to Brawley, great California cities, visited with the great ranchers and farmers, the oil drillers, that make up arguably the greatest agricultural area in the world, who generational families feed you and I, this country and the world, who are suppressed by overregulation by leadership in this state. And I will address that issue every day as we continue to build on a platform for you, the people, and the people that make up this great state of California. And I said back in the 70s that California was the heartbeat of America. And it's become a murmur. And that's why we together, going forward, will bring back that heartbeat. Ronald Reagan once said, as long as the dream lives, and as long as we continue to defend it, the American dream, America has a future, and all mankind has reason to hope. We do have reason to hope. Sometimes we lose the battle, but we will win the war if we stay together and fight together for what's right. Abraham Lincoln said, I will walk towards what is right, I will walk away from what is wrong, but we, the people, standing together, will always accomplish our goals. And two final things. This state is made up of 40% of the Latinos and Hispanics. And we put together a campaign. We spent $5 million in a campaign in Spanish to reach these hardworking people who are the backbone of agriculture and the backbone of our communities, to let them know that when they were told the Democrats were going to take care of them, and what was said in the third debate when the Telemundo reporter asked Barbara Lee, the Latino community doesn't feel you care about them. And she said, well, we don't. And then Adam Schiff started to stumble and say, we really haven't cared about them. And then they asked me, she said, what do you think, Mr. Garvey? And I looked into the teleprompter and I said, as your next elected U.S. Senator, I pledge to make the Latino community a priority. And they are our brothers and sisters, and we must always realize that they're an integral part of our society. And finally, we spoke to thousands and thousands of Christians. And the great churches of California, and of course we're Catholic and we love our church and our faith. But we are all Christians and we all worship the same God. And that's been reaffirmed over and over again. And as Christians, we will continue to fight. And you know, Judeo-Christian principles have been attacked. But we will fight against that. And just know that the Garvey family and campaign, as tough as it is tonight, because I hate to lose, as you know. I've lost a few World Series, but you know what? We came back and won in '81 because we were relentless in the pursuit of what we believed in, and that's happened tonight. So thank you all, brothers and sisters. God bless you, and we will continue the fight for America and California. Thank you.